All right, so today we're going to talk about data displays. So I just want to make sure that we're clear. I don't expect you to color every single thing and make it crazy. I just need you to get down the basics. So if it's a stem and leaf, write that, okay? Like for this, you don't, I mean, just sketch really, really quick. So there's a couple different graphs that we're going to have to know in this class. This first one is a stem and leaf plot, okay? So these are the stems and these are the leaves, all right? And we'll talk about what those look like. Another kind that we could see is a line plot. So you would just count up how many are on each number. The two that we're most going to see the most is the histogram. And a histogram is different than a bar graph because the histograms, all the bars touch each other, and circle graphs. All right? Okay. We also need to know what the difference between at most versus at least means. So at most is the maximum it can be, so no more than. So you can have at most 2 cookies for dessert, which means you can have either 0, 1, or 2 cookies, but you can't have 3, okay? Versus at least is the minimum amount. You must be at least 11 years old to be in the 7th grade, which means at least you can be 11, 12, 13, 14, so forth. Okay, so make sure that you're careful about that terminology. So once again, so stem and leaves. So the stem is going to be on the left of the line, and the leaves are going to be on the right. So let's talk about reading it. So for instance, we need to look over here at the key. And the key says that this 2 dash, or this 2 line 3 means 23 minutes. Therefore, let's read A. So by the way, when you're taking the notes, all I want you to do is write this and the question. And then we're going to answer it together, okay? So if you need a pause, go ahead and do that. All right, so it says, how many students take 37 minutes to get ready? So 37. So 37, I've got 1, 2, 3 37. So I would say 3 students. Okay, the next question says, how many students take less than 30 minutes to get ready? So less than 30. So not 30, but 29 and below. So less than 30, I would say, all right, so 23. So 23, 23, 25, 27, 28, 28. And then 33 is too many. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 students. And finally, C says, how many students take more than 40 minutes to get ready? So more than 40, not 40, but more than 40. So I need 41 and greater. So more than 40 would be, this is 40, no, but 42, 43, 43, 45, and then also this 58. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 students. All right. So once again, it says, so you're writing down hourly wages and you're drawing that entire stem plot real quick, okay? If I look at the key down here says that 6-5 means $6.50. So if it says what is 7-2, that is $7.20, right? Because the 6 was just the dollar amount, 5 is the cent amount. So 7 is the dollar amount, 20 is the cent amount. What is the highest hourly wage? So I obviously want to go to the bottom. And remember, this was the dollar amount, so that's $10. And then the cent amount was 5. So 5, and remember, we always have to have 2 decimal places for money, so 50 cents. So $10.50 was the highest hourly rate. All right, one more for stem and leaves. So it says, what was the highest fee earned? So once again, we got to look at this key, y'all. 5-3 means $53. So what was the highest fee? 65, right? 65 is the biggest one, so $65. What was the lowest fee earned? All right, we look up at the top. 21 is the smallest number, so that's $21. How many times were babysitting fees earned? So how many times? We just count them. Now remember, we only want to count our leaves because this is 21, 22, 23, 24. So we just count our leaves. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 times. Is there another one under there? Yep. How many earned at least $50? Remember, at least means 50 or more. 50 or more dollars. So I need to go in here and I say, okay, so 50, this is 51, 52, 53. This is 61, 65. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. Let's go ahead and go to this one. It shouldn't say how. Sorry, guys. It should say what. What percent of students watch less than 20 hours of TV each week? All right, so less than 20, not 20, but less. So this would be, if I look at the key, 2-7 means 27. So this is 11, 14, 14, 15, 16, 19. All of those are less than 20. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now, remember, that's all over how many total people there are. So if that's 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Now, they want percent. So remember, if we need to turn a fraction into a percent, we would first turn that into a decimal. So 6 divided by 12 is 0.5. And then to turn that into a percent, we double dip to the right. So that is 50%. All right, let's go to line plots. So the way we would read this is baseball had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people. Basketball had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 people, and so forth. Okay, line plots are pretty easy. You also use a frequency graph. So if I want to go ahead and look at 4, there's 2 people. And let's say that tallies for 5 was 1 person. Well, then we would just put 1x there. If 6 had 3, well, we would just put 3. And then they gave us 7. 7 was 4, so we just 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? So how many students scored at least an 89? So at least means an 89 or greater. 89 or more. Okay? At least. So I need 89 or more. And now I just count them up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 students. True or false? The line plot correctly shows the data in the table. All we got to do is just check. So for 9, there should be 3. 1, 2, 3. Sounds good. For 10, there should be 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. For 11, there should be 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. For 12, there should be 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. False. Close, but no. True or false? Most people receive 12 phone calls in a day. So most people, well, here's 12 phone calls. That's definitely not true. Most people do not get 12 phone calls in a day, so that's false. All right, let's go to circle graphs because that's really the most challenging, I think, at least. So what percent take the bus? All you would do is school buses in green, boom, 40%. So that's nice and easy if they give us one like that. But as we all know, nothing in life is that easy. So let's look at B. So B says what percent walk or bike? Walk or bike. So walk is in red. That's 25%. Plus bike is in blue. That's 20%. So walk or bike is 45%. We just add them on up. What percent take the bus or car? The bus was in green, so that's 40. And the car was in purple, and that's 15%. Once again, we add them up, that's 55% of people. So 1/4 of students voted for which student? So a fourth, you should think of quarters, guys, and 1/4 is 25%. And that's good old Michael. What percent represents other? All right, just look at over here, guys. Others in red, 5%. A total of 240 students were surveyed. How many students prefer Apple? Okay, so these are all in percentages. This is what we do. We make it a proportion, okay? So it's 5%, or sorry. Apple, we look at Apple. Apple is 30%. Every time we see that percent, remember we double dip. So that's 0.3. And then we would multiply it by how many students, which was 240. So if you put that in your calculator, 0.3 times 240, 72. And then that's students. Okay. How many students prefer melon? Remember, this is the exact same graph, so don't redo it. Melon is in yellow. That's 20%. So I double dip to make that 0.2. I times it by 240, and that gives me 48 students. All right, last thing is histograms. So reading histograms is not that bad, okay? The histogram shows the number of hours students spend on homework each week. How many students were surveyed? All we have to do is say, okay, the first thing is from 1 to 5, that's 8 students. From 6 to 10, that's 10 students. Over here, if it's in the middle, in between 2 and 3, or 2 and 4 is 3. And then there's nothing from 16 to 20. So how many were surveyed? We just add them up. 8 plus 10 plus 3 is 21 students. All right, so the exact same thing. And this time they're asking how many students spend at least 11 hours. Remember, at least means 11 or more. So at least is here. And we already determined that that was 3. So it's 3 students. Same exact histogram. What percent of students spend at most 5 hours on homework? So at most means 5 or less, right? 5 or less. So if I go over here, 5 or less is at 8. And then remember, this was 10, this was 3. So if we want to make it a percent, we start with a fraction, go to decimal, and then double dip. So from 1 to 5 is 8, because that's at most 8 people. But then it's over the total amount of people is on the bottom. So we already determined 8 plus 10 plus 3 was 21. So it's 8 over 21. So I'd put 8 divided by 21 into my calculator, and I would get 0.3809. And then I would just go ahead and double dip that to make that 38.09%. Same exact thing. How many people are, oh, sorry, nope. This is a different histogram. My bad. This is about book club members. So how many people are book club members? Once again, just add them up. From here, 3, 10, 15, and then from here is 5. So now we add those up. So 3 plus 10 plus 15 plus 5 gives us 33 people. What percent of students are 22 and over? So this is the last one we're due for this video. 22 and over is here. So once again, we know the total is going to be 22 and over total. That's our rule. So 22 and over, there were 5. And then from the previous example, we know that the total is 33 people. Now we turn that into a decimal. And then we double dip it. boom, boom. So that's 15.15% of people. Okay?